So deception is a kingpin of the globe Earth model. Ask most people and they will defend the globe Earth model. But worse, consider you stupid with a screw loose. And they will say things like, we have photographs taken from space. Well, we can show that they are all computer-generated images, often a mosaic stitched together. And of course that means an image, not a photograph. Yet, the globe model was believed long before the so-called space race. How? Indoctrination in the classroom. But we aren't going there in this video. The thing is, people's defence of the globe is based on very little knowledge. We have to know our model as well as their globe model. Ask them very simple questions like, what is the tilt of the Earth? What is Earth's circumference or radius? What is the speed of the Earth around the Sun, around the galaxy, etc.? Ask them about the Moon, size and distance, etc. The result is a complete blank stare. That in itself shows complete indoctrination without critical thought. For this model has been pushed out to them from early school childhood to children's TV programmes and globes everywhere on mainstream TV and films. As I said, deception and lies are kingpins of the Luciferian satanic globe model. And as I mentioned in my last video, What's in a Name, about NASA adding up to 666. Well, 666 is everywhere in the globe model. I asked, what is the coincidence? 666 is the mark of the beast system, so what are the chances? So let's start here. What is the tilt of the Earth? Remember, deception and lies. The answer is 23.4 degrees. This looks pretty innocuous, i.e. harmless. Nothing to see here. Move along. But let's look at this in diagrammatic form. Here it indeed shows a tilt of 23.4 degrees to the vertical or perpendicular. But notice, just below the horizontal orbital plane around the Sun, it shows that it is 90 degrees between the orbital plane and the perpendicular, or if you like, the horizontal and the vertical. Okay, so let's do this the other way. What is the tilt of the Earth, not from the vertical, but from the horizontal? It is 90 degrees minus 23.4 degrees, which equals 66.6 degrees. So the tilt of the Earth is 66.6 degrees from the horizontal. Well, that's deceitful. But I ask you, and so should you, is this a coincidence? But let's move along. Nothing to see here. So let's look at the circumference of the globe. Again, will people know the answer? Well, as you can see, it's about 40,075 kilometres. See how deceptive this can be? The original figures would have been in imperial numbers, not kilometres. So this is 24,860 statute miles. But notice the two figures. 24,901 miles around the equator, but 24,860 miles through the poles. The average between the two is 24,880 miles. So what? Remember, deception. Nothing to see here. So let's consider nautical miles. A nautical mile is a unit of length used in air, marine and space navigation, defined internationally as exactly 1,852 metres. It is based on the Earth's circumference and represents 1 minute of latitude, i.e. 1/60th of a degree. So 1 nautical mile equals approximately 1.151 statute or land miles, or 1.85 kilometres. Also, notice in a diagrammatical view, it shows that the definition of a metre is defined as being 10,000 metres along the circumference of the Earth from the equator to the pole. So, a nautical mile based on Earth's circumference is equal to 1.15078 statute miles. Putting it the other way around, 1 statute mile equals 0.869 of a nautical mile. Therefore, multiplying up 24,880 statute miles equals 21,620 nautical miles. Now, what if I told you that 6 times 60 times 666 equals 21,600? Virtually the same as the circumference of the Earth in nautical miles. So, 666 is all over the place. Again, a coincidence or deception. So now let us turn to the Arctic Circle. Again, nothing to see here, move along. But what is the definition of the Arctic Circle? This is from Wikipedia. The Arctic Circle is one of the 2 polar circles and the northernmost of the 5 major circles of latitude. It is shown on maps of Earth as about 66 degrees 34 minutes north. Its southern counterpart is the Antarctic Circle. So, it's 66 degrees 34 minutes north. Let's look at this on a map. Hold on a minute. There are 60 minutes in a degree, not 100. So expressed in degrees, 34 minutes is equal to 0.56667, or rounded up 0.6 of a degree. That means that the Arctic Circle, expressed in degrees only, is 66.6 degrees north. Smell a rat? Coincidence, of course. So, what about the Antarctic Circle? The position of the Antarctic Circle is not fixed and currently runs at about 66 degrees 33 minutes 50.8 seconds south of the equator. Again, the Antarctic Circle is situated at 66 degrees 33 minutes and 50.8 seconds south of the equator. And as before, presenting it in degrees only, it is 66.6 degrees south of the equator. Yet another coincidence? I don't think so. Finally, what do you think is the speed of sound across the Earth? The speed of sound is 343 metres per second. Here is the Wikipedia definition. Great! 343 metres per second. What does that have to do with 666? Well, I'll tell you a secret, it's very well hid. But remember when we looked at the circumference of the Earth and we needed to change the units to nautical miles, except that being a speed rather than a distance, nautical miles per hour equal knots. Knots is used as a nautical and aeronautical speed. Let's do the same now for metres per second, and we will use a conversion table. So first, let's multiply the 343 metres per second into minutes by multiplying by 60. And then let's do the same and multiply by 60 to get 343 times 60 times 60, which equals 1,234,800 metres per hour. And look, if we plug in 1,234,800 metres into the metre box and look at the nautical mile box, it equals 666. So 343 metres per second equals 666 nautical miles per hour. In other words, the speed of sound is 666 knots. Do you smell a rat? And it was camouflaged so well. Of course, in my day, we didn't use a metric system, but good old feet and inches and miles per hour. Looking at the conversion table, the speed of sound is approximately 760 miles per hour. And this is how I learnt it. Deception, baby. So having befuddled your mind, we'll leave it at that for now. But go and play back again the video and realise that you've been had. More next time as we look at the sun and the moon, etc. And I hope this has really given you something to think about.